We are back from sunny Florida.
Yep, and we're asking the question, just how magical is Disney World? Stay tuned, we're going to tell you. So in order to make this an RV experience, we found an Airstream. And it's one of the Bynum Club members too. So here we are in Dinoland at Animal Kingdom. And it just officially became an RV video. So welcome back to the Happy Place Diaries. We just came back from Florida on our 30th wedding anniversary trip. And boy, did we have an experience.
We did. We had a...
It was definitely a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yes. That's all I can say.
So what we want to do in this video, this is not a Disney World review. So essentially we want to share three things with you, three areas with you. We want to share our experience. We want to share the value of Disney.
Right.
Disney. And then we're going to compare it to what we know, which is Disneyland. And before we even get started, the disclaimer that we are Disney people. We like Disney.
Yeah, we like Disney. We're not like, over the top Disney, but we do like Disney.
Right. We did our honeymoon at Disneyland. We did our 25th anniversary at Disneyland. So we thought, let's go to Disney World for our 30th anniversary. And we did.
Yes.
So let's talk about our experience.
And the first thing that I was thinking about was we have to fly there because I don't have a month long to take off to drive from Oregon to Florida and then back.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about time in a minute, but
right.
But yeah, we have to get there. Now, the last time we went down to Disneyland, we drove.
Right, we took the trailer.
And it's still only a 3-day trip, not a week-long trip.
Right.
If you want to, so because we've been talking about staying at Fort Wilderness at Disney World. And if we were going to do that, that is a month-long trip.
Right.
At a minimum. Because it's a week to get across the country, a week to get home. And that's busting it, and I don't want to.
Right. No.
But, and then we'll talk about the time spent at Disney itself. So yeah. So you got to get there. Let's talk about February in Disney World.
Well, the first thing that you have to remember is the week that we went was also the East Coast all had school off. So we had thousands of people from like New York and New Jersey that were there with their kids because they get a week off.
Yeah, it looked like a Buffalo Bills convention.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, which is something that we don't experience on the West Coast because we don't get the solstice break or whatever they call it.
Correct.
And because they get a Christmas break and then
a solstice break.
And then they get spring break, where we just get Christmas and then spring break and
so,
get your butt back to school.
So if you're going the week of February 22nd,
just be prepared because the crowds.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are down there.
And I think you couple that with the fact that February is livable weather in Florida, where, we experienced the highs of like 87.
Right.
And mild humidity. And so a lot of people like to be out when it's comfortable.
Right.
You got to be prepared for crowds. If you are empty nesters like us, you also need to be prepared in those crowds for a crap ton of strollers.
And not just regular strollers. You got
double wide,
triple wide, and
oh my goodness,
6 feet long.
And I think, and I don't mean to offend, but the drivers of the strollers have no situational awareness.
Nope.
No, they are taking that stroller as fast as they want.
And then
and what I mean by that is as slow as they want. And wherever they want.
Right.
And stroller parking.
Yes. I guess that is a good thing for them.
It's a great thing for them.
Which is fine, because then you're not stumbling, but there's a ton of strollers.
Yeah, and I don't mean to complain.
No.
But It is what it is. And if you think that you're going to be able just to walk wherever you want, at the pace that you want, which brings us to the lines.
With the crowds come the lines.
Yeah, and you just got to be prepared to stand in line. Now, luckily, the app is going to tell you how long, and they have beautiful cast members that stand there at the end of the line that tell you what you can expect with the lines. We stood in line for Avatar for 3 hours. Was it worth it? Heck yeah, it was worth it.
We would do it again.
I would get right back and do another 3 hours. But, and here's the beauty of Disney lines. The lines move. You get to meet fascinating people, and there's always something to look at.
Correct.
You know, there's always something that stimulates, you know, this or that or conversation.
And there's he knows so much about Disney, and we were at the Haunted Mansion, and we were in the line, and we got to the part where the graveyard is, and he knew everything, and he was telling Josh and Gabby all about, well, she killed them, and then they killed her, and then he killed them.
Yeah.
And you know, he knew all about like the Toad. Mr. Toad is in the cemetery because
the pet cemetery.
The pet cemetery because when they discontinued Mr. Toad's ride, they put him in the cemetery.
Yeah. So again, if you're kind of into Disney and you understand that every attraction has a backstory.
Correct.
So I'm into that kind of stuff. So I felt like sharing that. So the lines do move. You really have to plan your day at Disney. You really have to plan. Yeah, so we did buy the Lightning Lane passes, formerly known as the Fast Pass. But I don't know how great a value that is. We'll talk about that when we get to value. The heat. If you're anywhere but from Florida, you have to be prepared for the heat. Stay hydrated because the heat sneaks up on you.
And how do we know that?
I got dehydrated on Wednesday morning.
No,
Tuesday morning. And I was wiped out. We were at Animal Kingdom on Monday all day long. And you're in the shade and you're on water rides, but the heat snuck up. And southeast Florida heat and northwest Oregon heat are two different heats. And it did sneak up on me, and I paid for it. We paid for it.
Yeah.
It couldn't have happened at a worse time. It was our anniversary day, which was supposed to be magical. And wah, wah.
Well, you know, it's marriage.
Yeah.
It's life.
So yeah, we learned the lesson on the heat kind of the hard way. And there was no climatizing. We jumped off the airplane, went straight to Epcot. And then right into Animal Kingdom the next morning, then right to Magic Kingdom the next morning. And, you know, so we were out of pace because we only had 4 days in the park. Know how to negotiate Disney. And because Disney World, it was a different experience for us compared to Disneyland. We didn't understand just how big Disney World is.
Correct.
The time and the space that is filled by Disney.
It's huge.
It's a massive place compared to Disneyland. Now, the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland are the same. If you're just talking about that park.
Correct.
Magic Kingdom, even the layout. The stores on Main Street are laid out exactly the same. So we were very familiar with the Magic Kingdom. What we were not familiar with was the half-hour drive that it takes to get from the hotel into Magic Kingdom, because you can't get to Magic Kingdom.
No.
You have to get to the transit center, then jump on the monorail or the ferry,
and then get
there. And again, We're not complaining.
We
We
just-
just didn't understand how you negotiate that.
Exactly.
So the know-how was a really big thing. How do you get from hotel to the transit center? How do you get from... And once you use Disney transportation, you start understanding that so you can start planning how much time it takes. And I will tell you that Disney transportation versus the third-party transportation is a heck of a lot more effective.
Correct.
They're very timely, and you know exactly where you're going and when you're going to get there. And they run every 5 minutes. You jump on the monorail, you're there. You jump on the ferry. I mean, even the mile ride from the transit center to Magic Kingdom, it's 1 mile, but it only took a few minutes.
And it also depends on where you're staying.
Right.
Because our experience is that we stayed at a hotel outside
Yeah, we stayed at a Marriott.
outside of Disney World. So in order for us to get to Disney World through the hotel, there was only 2 times that you could take the bus and go.
Right.
So it was either 8:40 in the morning or 10:35 in the morning. And if anything else, you had to either Uber, or if you had a rental car, you could do the rental car.
Right. All of the Disney stuff, the Disney transportation was free.
Yes.
Once we got on, we were on. And once you get in the park, you're in the park, you're free. You could get on the monorail, go to Epcot. You could get on the ferries, you could get on the buses, and you could move around the Disney World property very effectively, but it's time and space. So you need to plan that into your day, because the park opens at 9 o'clock. If you think you're going to get in
At 9 o'clock.
at 9 o'clock,
And you're coming from a hotel? No way.
no, unless you're coming from Disney property or you're taking a car in.
Right. And just remember, you might think that you're going to take the monorail the whole time. You have to give yourself another out, because we got to the monorail and it was shut down. So we all had to get off the monorail and go take the ferry.
Take the ferry, right.
So you want to make sure that you know where the ferry is, where the monorail is, where the buses are, because, it might just get shut down for...
Yeah.
I mean, it got shut down for us, and they're like, it's probably faster for you to take the ferry.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it's faster than just sitting still.
Well, correct.
So-
yeah, but I mean, it's nice that they have different ways of getting you there, because
Yeah.
obviously it happens a lot.
And the Disney cast members are magnificent.
Yep.
When it comes to something happens, boom, they're on it. They are immediately rerouting you, getting you to the next thing, explaining what's going on.
We had a couple with transportation. One was the line. Someone got sick in the line. Luckily, there was 2 lines, so they were right on it to get us into the 1 lane and get us up there.
Yeah, they immediately, before anybody even knew what was going on,
Right.
they're diverting traffic and they're moving. So that experience is great. So I guess to button up the transportation piece, Disney transportation system is pretty darn amazing.
Yes.
But plan, because you need to get out your map and your app, and you need to plan your experience around transportation, around space, around how much time it takes there. So food and drinks, those are pluses and minuses in my book. Now, it's wonderful that Disney provides food and drink everywhere.
A galore, yes.
You can't walk around anywhere without an opportunity to get something to drink and
A snack
and
or
snacks.
food.
And yes, they do have water fill stations. You got to find them, but they're there. But Disney does allow you to bring your own food and drink in the park.
Which was nice, because a long time ago they didn't.
Right. And so that is very nice. Now, you've got to find a place to eat it.
And store it.
Right, and store it. So they do offer locker service, or you're going to carry your stuff around all day. But One of the negatives that I thought was that they didn't, Disney, at least at the Magic Kingdom, because of the crowds, there's just not a lot of places to just sit. I felt that was kind of a negative on Disney's part, that they know there's that many crowds. They know people need to sit down.
Right, and people get so frustrated, especially when you've got, like, there was lots of families there, like brother and sister and each of their kids and grandmas and grandpas. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like there was only 2 or 3 people. There's crowds of like 8 and 10 people. And for them to sit together, there's just not a lot of room.
No, not unless you're going into the restaurants. And I guess because of COVID, now even the walk-ups, you have to order on the app, which I'm a fan of tech, and we're going to talk about the app. Well, let's just talk about the app. The app is amazing. The app links with your Apple Watch or your Magic Band if you got one. We didn't get the Magic Band because we both have Apple Watches. And so your pass and everything links to your watch. And so you could purchase with it.
Right.
That's how you get into the park. You just hold your watch up and then you put your fingerprint on and boom, you're in. When you're making purchases at the stores, you can either walk into the store, scan the barcode, and then shop and scan the price tags, and then check out, and then you come up with all your stuff, they throw it in a bag for you, and you're out.
The door you go.
And when you go to eat at the walk-ups, you scan the barcode of the restaurant that you're at.
Right.
And then it pops up the menu, you order, and then it tells you what window to pick your food up.
And then it will ding you when it's ready. It'll say, go to pick up window 2, you know.
Yeah, and it gives you an opportunity to go find somewhere to sit or, find a shady spot. I loved it. It was super quick, super fast. The app moves you around the park. You could set up your genie for your day, and it'll kind of give you hey, this is the best things for you to do. You could, like I said, you could purchase things over the app. You could get transportation over the app.
And another thing with the food app is that you could reserve a time also. Sometimes when you bring it up, it'll say you have between 12:15 and 12:45. That's going to be your pickup. We'll let you know. Or you can go in there and pick a later time to have it picked up, which is good.
So we wanted to go over to Tomorrowland, but we wanted to eat in Fantasyland.
Right.
So we just picked a later time. And so we went, and then we did our things over in Fantasyland.
And then came back.
And then we came back, and our food was ready with it. I mean, we were in the window.
Right. We waited about 15, 20 minutes after that. But in that time, he found a table.
Right.
And so we got to sit down and wait.
So the app really allows you to do some good planning for your day. And then, kind of back to the food and drink thing, it is available. And yeah, you're going to pay Disney prices. But what I found was the walk-ups was really not that bad. Like the dinner that we had at Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Not bad at all.
Oh, no. We
had ribs and chicken.
Yeah, ordered it. And then Josh and Gabby went and found a table. And it was, 5 minutes?
Yeah, and it was only $15 a plate.
Yeah.
So that's comparable to really anything. And the quality of the food. And this was the biggest surprise for me. Because we had heard lots of people saying, oh, the food is terrible. No. We did not have a bad meal, and we ate a lot at Disney.
We did.
We probably ate more at Disney than we should have. And we brought food into the park the day I got sick, and then we didn't eat. So,
yeah.
But the quality of the food was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And the prices weren't that bad. The walk-ups, reasonable. And then they don't surprise you. Because if you're making reservations at the dinner places, the restaurants, dinner places, the restaurants, it tells you what you can expect to pay, $35 to $55 a plate.
Right, exactly.
Okay, Disney is Disney quality. And because we do like Disney, we understand that when you go to Disneyland or Disney World, Disney does things at a 5-star level.
Right.
It's clean. The shows are fantastic.
Oh,
The fireworks are phenomenal. The entire experience is a quality experience. You're not going to a county fair.
correct.
Right?
Yes.
So that is something that I absolutely love about the Disney experience that edges us into value. If you're going to Disney, you're gonna spend money.
Yes.
And if you don't think you are, then you're absolutely you're in Tomorrowland because
a rude awakening.
but you got to know that going into it. Now, are there ways that you can do Disney cheap? Yes, there are. Like we bought our tickets through Morale, Welfare, and Recreation through the military.
Right.
And there's lots of discounts, even if you're not in the military. There are discount packages through travel agents and stuff like that. We are very fortunate that we get to use the MWR or the Shades of Green and all of that, the military packages. But there are definitely ways that you can find discounts for Disney tickets.
Yes.
Disney tickets are expensive.
Oh, we didn't take a picture.
I know, but they're expensive. That's all you
Dang
need
it.
to know. You don't need a picture.
I usually take a picture of how much a ticket is,
But the longer you stay with Disney, the cheaper it is. So what we found is a 4-day park hopper was cheaper than a 2-day park hopper or a 3-day park hopper. And so when we were going through the ticket buying process, the guy was like, buy the 4-day, you could throw the ticket away.
right.
You're still saving money in the long run because the longer you stay with Disney, Disney rewards you
Right.
by
Which is
knocking
very
down
nice.
the price. So the tickets, like I said about the meals earlier, you're gonna pay.
Right. But like you were saying, the ones that we went up and just ordered online, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
I mean, I was expecting to spend $50 or $60 each time we had lunch or dinner, and it wasn't. It was maybe between 25 and 40 for us.
Yeah.
We, like we said, we didn't go to any other restaurants. There, I think we would have paid 35 or 40 bucks a plate.
Right.
So,
But then when we're talking about value, if you don't eat on Disney property, then you have to leave Disney property.
and it's a ways.
So now you're talking $26 for an Uber to get off of Disney property and find a restaurant and then sit down and eat probably for about the same price.
Right. That you
So the value in total, it's almost better to stay on Disney. And maybe bring snacks to eat along the way and do it that way. What I think you really need at Disney World is a full week.
I would agree because
You cannot do Disney World in 3 days.
No.
You cannot experience. You can't experience. There's no way. Even if you bought lightning lanes and planned it to where you were wearing running shoes and just booking, and then you're not experiencing Disney. If you were just head down moving from ride to ride, then you're not experiencing Disney, in my opinion. When it comes to value, I think the longer you stay, the better the experience. The longer you stay, I mean, you're going to spend money, whatever. If you go to Disney, you need to have reasonable expectations that you're going to experience lines, you're going to experience crowds, you're going to spend lots of money, and when you go, how do I say this delicately? You need to go knowing that it's Disney and all of that stuff's going to happen, and so you just got to let it happen and enjoy the experience. So, let's talk about Disneyland versus Disney World. Just a little bit. On the top, my initial impression is the size difference.
I was overwhelmed. I was very overwhelmed.
I was very overwhelmed. Now, I loved Animal Kingdom. I didn't think I was going to, but then I really did. I enjoyed Animal Kingdom. I was a little bit bummed because we're coming out of the COVID experience at Disney. And by that I mean masks aren't required anymore, but the characters still aren't walking around.
At Animal Kingdom, they were on a boat, and so you could stand on the bridge and see them go by on the boat.
The characters.
The characters, yeah. The characters were on a boat, so that was really the only way you could see the characters.
Yeah, so they didn't do all of that anymore, so that part of the experience was kind of lacking for me. I would have liked to spend more time at Epcot because we had 100% in the short time that we were at Epcot, we had a blast. Boardwalk.
Oh, yes.
Super cool. I would have liked to spend a little bit of more time at the boardwalk. We never did go to Disney Springs. We didn't get to go to Hollywood Studios. The kids did. And then Magic Kingdom. Again, Magic Kingdom for us was like going to Disneyland because the layout's the same. By and large, the layout's the same. There's things at Disney Magic Kingdom that they don't have at Disney
And vice versa.
Land and vice versa. So that to me was a wash.
Yeah.
Overall experience, I prefer Disneyland.
I prefer, yes. And the only really reason that I prefer it is because we can leave the campground at Disneyland and it takes us 5 minutes to get there. They drop you off and bam, you're right in. So the most you would have to wait would be in line getting in. The transportation is quick.
Yeah, the space of Disneyland is a lot easier to negotiate in 3 or 4 days.
Correct.
Because the last time we went for 4 days.
Yeah. No, we went for 3 days.
Okay,
We were
so
there
about the same time.
Right.
In the park. So Disneyland in Anaheim, so much easier to negotiate in that time. Even with the park hopper with California Adventure.
Because California Land is right, like
right across
100 feet from the entrance to
right.
Disneyland.
You don't need to take a tram. You don't need to get on the monorail.
You just walk.
You just walk straight across.
Yeah.
The park hopper is so much easier to use at Disneyland.
Right. Will we go again to
Disney World?
Will we go again to Disney World?
Yes.
Yes. Most definitely. There's just
Now that we know how.
right, and I think that's what I was most concerned about was that I didn't know. I just didn't know. And so now I know the transportation, how far things are from each other. I know that if we stay at Fort Wilderness, we have to take the ferry or take the truck. I think it'll be much better, and you will not get sick next time.
No, that's for sure. I definitely know that Disneyland is very familiar to us, and maybe that's why.
Right. Because we've been there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. So, Disney World is labeled as the most magical place on earth. Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. And we experience happiness at both of them. Was Disney World magical?
Not this time.
For us, not this time.
Not this time.
That's not to say that we didn't have a blast.
Right. We just, our time was shut down with you being sick. So we missed one of our full days. We missed half of it. So
it wasn't Mickey's fault. It was my fault that I let myself go, but I wasn't thinking about it.
And part of it had to do with our experience from Disneyland coming to Disney World. And we're so used to seeing the characters and getting our pictures and our signatures.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
And trading pins and doing all that.
Right. And so hopefully in the next 5 or 6 years we'll be able to go back again. And
once the plague lifts and things get back to normal, I think that'll change things. Are we going to go back to Disney World anytime soon? No, we'll go back to Disneyland first. I will say going for the 50th anniversary of Disney World, super cool.
Yes.
That the overlay of the celebration was really, really cool.
So for our 55th anniversary, we'll have to go there.
Yeah, something like that. So your mileage may vary. It might be super magical for you, and we hope we find a magical experience the next time we're there. But in the meantime, we'll stick with happiest. So anyway, let us know what your experience is. Again, if you're not Disney people, then it really doesn't matter. It's just another amusement park. But if you're Disney people, kind of like we are, we enjoyed the experience. And so going there, we were not disappointed. But and let me just close with this then. Maybe it's because we had the expectation of Disneyland.
Could be.
And that could be, but now that we've been there, we know how to negotiate it better. And so that's our experience. We talked about the value. And to me, it's still the happiest place on earth, other than being on our egg. So anyway, hey, thanks for coming. Let us know what you think about Disney and your experience. And like always, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.